The gift bag slipped from my hand the moment I saw it. The soft thud against the kitchen floor louder than it should have been, because I knew instantly that something was wrong. It was still early, the kind of quiet morning where the house hasn't fully woken up yet. Light crept through the blinds in thin stripes, landing on the counter where my wife, Laura, had left her coffee mug half full. She'd rushed out earlier than usual, hair still damp, perfume heavier than normal. I remembered thinking it was strange, but not strange enough to stop her. The bag had been sitting near the door. Matte black. Thick ribbon. The kind of thing you notice because it feels deliberate. She'd told me the night before it was a gift for her boss. Some anniversary for him and his wife, or a promotion. I couldn't remember exactly. I hadn't paid attention then. I was tired. Trust has a way of making you careless. Now the bag was open on the floor, the box inside tipped just enough for me to see the corner of it. My chest tightened before my brain caught up. I knelt down slowly, as if moving too fast might make the moment worse. The box was unmistakable. I'd seen it once before, months ago, in a jewelry store window while walking downtown with Laura. She'd stopped, pressed her hand to the glass, and laughed it off when I teased her about expensive taste. I lifted the lid. Inside was a silver bracelet, delicate but substantial, the kind that doesn't pretend to be casual. The tag was still attached. I turned it over with trembling fingers. Same brand. Same style. Same engraving. My heart began to pound in my ears, not from certainty, but from the horrible space between knowing and not wanting to know. I sat back on my heels and stared at the bracelet, memories pressing in uninvited. Laura saying her boss had been supportive during a rough quarter. Laura staying late more often. Laura taking calls in the car, instead of the living room. I told myself it was nothing. People buy similar gifts all the time. Rich bosses have predictable taste. Coincidences happen. But the ache in my chest didn't listen to reason. I left the bracelet where it was and stood, my legs unsteady. I poured myself coffee, barely tasting it, and tried to focus on the normal sounds of the morning. The fridge humming. A car passing outside. My phone buzzing on the counter. A message from Mark. Mark was my friend from college. Loud, sarcastic, married to Emily, who Laura knew casually. The text was short. Hey, random question. Did Laura ever mention where she shops for jewelry? I stared at the screen, my pulse quickening. Why? I typed back. There was a pause long enough to feel intentional. Emily got a bracelet from her husband last night. He said Laura helped him pick it out. My hand tightened around the phone. What kind of bracelet? I asked. Another pause. Then a photo appeared. The room seemed to tilt. It was the same bracelet. Same clasp. Same engraved date inside the band. Different box, maybe, but identical in every way that mattered. I sank into a chair, my breath shallow. The kitchen suddenly too bright, too exposed. The coffee mug slipped from my grip and spilled across the table, brown liquid creeping toward the edge, but I didn't move to stop it. Mark's next message came quickly, almost apologetic. Her boss gave it to Emily. Said it was from both of them. Thought it was sweet. From both of them. I felt something fracture quietly inside me. Not shatter. Crack. A slow, spreading break that hurt more because it didn't make a sound. Laura had said the gift was for her boss. Her boss had given the same gift to his wife. And somehow, Laura had been involved in choosing it. I wanted to call her immediately. Demand an explanation. Hear her voice, so I could pretend this was all a misunderstanding. Instead, I sat there, staring at the bracelet on the floor and the photo on my phone, letting the realization sink in piece by piece. When Laura came home that evening, she kissed my cheek like always, set her keys down, and asked what I wanted for dinner. Her voice was light. Normal. Too normal. I watched her move around the kitchen, noticed how she avoided looking at the floor near the door. How was work? I asked. Busy, she said quickly. Long meetings. I nodded. Did you give your boss the gift? She hesitated just a fraction of a second. Barely noticeable. But I saw it. Yeah, she said. He loved it. I swallowed, the taste of coffee still bitter in my mouth hours later. That's good, I replied. She smiled, relieved, and turned her back to me. The bracelet stayed on the floor all night. Neither of us mentioned it, and I lay awake beside her, listening to her breathe, wondering when exactly my life had started slipping into a version I didn't recognize. Sleep never really came. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that bracelet, gleaming under store lights, Laura's reflection faintly visible in the glass. By morning, my exhaustion had settled into something sharper. Resolve, maybe. Or fear dressed up as clarity. Laura left early again. No kiss this time. Just a distracted wave and the sound of the door clicking shut. I called in sick to work and sat at the dining table, my laptop open but untouched. Instead, I scrolled through old photos on my phone. Birthdays. Road trips. Quiet Sundays on the couch. I searched for signs that I'd missed something obvious, but all I found were moments that now felt like lies simply because I couldn't tell where the truth ended. Around noon, my phone rang. It was Emily. Her voice was cautious, kind. Mark told me what happened. I'm so sorry if this puts you in an awkward position. It's not your fault, I said, though my voice sounded distant even to me. She hesitated. For what it's worth, my husband seemed surprised Laura had helped him. He said she insisted on that exact bracelet. Said it meant something. Something. The word echoed long after the call ended. When Laura came home that night, I didn't wait. I held up the bracelet before she could even take off her coat. Her face drained of color. You told me this was for your boss, I said quietly. So, why did he give the same one to his wife? The silence stretched between us, heavy and brittle. I can explain, she finally said. I laughed, a short, hollow sound. You always can. She sat down slowly, as if her body had suddenly remembered gravity. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. Like what? I asked. Like me finding out? Her eyes filled, but she didn't look away. We didn't plan it. It just started. The words landed with dull finality. No shouting. No dramatic confession. Just the quiet confirmation of everything I'd feared. How long? I asked. She pressed her lips together. A few months. A few months. Long enough to choose gifts together. Long enough to lie comfortably. I stood up, needing space, air, anything. Did you love him? She shook her head, then nodded, then covered her face with her hands. I don't know. I loved the way he made me feel. That hurt more than if she'd said yes. I slept on the couch that night. In the morning, I packed a bag. There was no screaming, no accusations left to throw. Just a deep, aching sadness that felt permanent. As I left, I glanced back at the house we'd built together. It looked the same as it always had. Warm. Familiar. But I understood then that appearances could be carefully chosen, wrapped up nicely, and handed over as gifts, even when the truth was something else entirely. Outside, the air was cold and sharp. I breathed it in, steadying myself. Some betrayals don't explode. They unravel quietly, thread by thread, until you're left holding something you no longer recognize. And as painful as that realization was, it was also clear. I deserved more than a beautiful lie.